Kevin Benedict, Mobility Analyst, reporting live this week from Las Vegas, where I'm here at SAP's TechEd 2012. And I have the privilege of spending time with Jens Koerner. Is that how you say it?
That's correct.
Jens Koerner.
You got it.
All right. And
Nailed it.
And you're product manager for the platform here at SAP, the mobility platform.
Yes.
And you were sharing just a moment ago how the product management is different from solution management.
That's
How's
correct,
that?
Yeah. So at SAP, we have our roll-in process of requirements into the product. Basically works like this. We have our solution management team go out and look cross-product at what customers need, and where the market's heading. Talking to analysts, talking to customers, and that these market requirements get handed over to product management. And we then look at that, okay, what features, functions do we need to fulfill these requirements? Mm-hmm. And what underlying architecture changes do we need to fulfill these requirements? And then once that is built out with a backlog, and we feed that to our development teams, who then architect and deliver the features, and then we make sure that when we roll out the product, that product management is happy, that the features are meeting the requirements, and eventually solution management is happy, and most importantly, that the customer is happy with what they're getting.
All right. So you were sharing with me just a moment ago this whole idea of the platform in the cloud, Afaria in the cloud. Tell me what's coming down the road here.
So we just announced Afaria in the cloud. Basically put it on Amazon and have a consulting partner maintain it for us, make sure the upgrades are in place, so the customer doesn't have to do that. It's an option, delivery option. To me, people are psyched about the cloud. At the end of the day, it is the customer's decision on whether I want to go on premise or into the cloud, and it's not our decision. We should just offer the infrastructural capabilities to go either way. If you want to put your investments into on-premise, you put it on a balance sheet, you spend the capex, and you think that is a long-term better solution for me, that's absolutely fine. If you say, no, I want to consume it as a service, I want to start small, grow, maybe switch to on-premise later on, we should enable that as well. So for the mobile platform, what we have done is we have the 2.2 release coming out in early November for the on-premise solution. And we opened up and changed our interfaces from our proprietary protocol to HTTP REST. And we said, listen, let's grab these interfaces, these APIs, and put them into the cloud as well, so that apps that run against these HTTP interfaces on-premise can also run in the cloud. So one app, two deployment options, depending on what your needs are. And for the cloud release, which is coming out also at the end of November this year, first release of it, we took a very, very narrow but focused approach. We said, well, let's not boil the ocean, let's think big but start small and fast. So we took those HTTP REST services for online productivity apps, put those into the cloud, and built a very application-centric user experience around it for the administrator. Mainly focus on all the boring tasks that are needed to get an app out to 10, 100,000 users in the extreme cases. And these are things that are not sexy by any means, but they need to be done to get an app out to the enterprise. Two things you have to do, the minimum two things you have to do when you buy an app or develop an app yourself, is you have to connect it to your backend. Like a leave request app is very much useless unless it's connected to the backend that you're using at your organization to manage leave requests, right? And then the second thing is you have to fit it into your company security profile, whether that is certificates, it's Kerberos, it's your identity management, it's in SiteMinder, SAP Portal. All of these things need to be solved. You can have the most beautiful app, if you can't connect it to your backend in an easy fashion, or if you can't put it fit it into the company's security profiles and policies, the app's not going to go anywhere. And that is what the platform is solving. On top of that, obviously you can configure push notifications for Android, for obviously iOS, for BlackBerry. You can configure apps. That's a very exciting concept. We recently purchased a company called Cyclo. They are very, very strong in the metadata-driven design of apps, where you can change the app without having to touch the binary that's on the user's phone. So we actually had a little customer council here with some of our strategic customers to get some feedback, and we demoed that to them. We showed them, okay, this is the app. Now we went into, in this case, in the cloud environment. You can do that on-premise as well. change the metadata behind the scenes, and the app on the user's device updates without us having to go to the user and say, listen, you got to download and update the app. And I think that is, I mean, if it's for the lab, if you're in a lab, it's not a big deal. If you have 10, 20, 40,000 customers that you need to update, that becomes very much important, because now the maintenance of the app goes very much away from the user's 40,000 devices to one central point, which is the platform on-premise or in the cloud.
So, question for you on mobile middleware. What role do you see mobile middleware in the cloud playing? And why is that an advantage, and who would be interested in that?
So, I think if you're building just one app and you can fit it in your security profile, you don't necessarily need to buy a platform, right? On-premise. But if you say, listen, I don't want to deal with all of these pieces myself. I want to basically buy that prepackaged. Cloud is very nice because it scales. It works for one app, it works for 10 apps, it works for 100 apps, it works for one user, 10 users, hundreds, thousands of users. So I think that is really a sweet spot for the cloud, the fact that you can think big with a platform approach, but start small and fast. And I think that is what we're seeing not only in the mobile space, but everywhere. We saw the announcement of HANA as well, putting HANA in the cloud. B1 went into the HANA cloud. People want to think big. They want to have the enterprise readiness that you get from on-premise, but they don't want to put all the money up front on the table. They want to start small and fast.
So do you think it's purely a financial interest is the reason why they would want to start with the cloud?
It's a financial. Financial is obviously that's an important point, but it's also a question: who maintains what? Like, do I want to be in full control of all the upgrades and the tuning of my servers? Am I more comfortable with that, or do I feel I want to outsource that and have somebody else take care of that? It's a philosophical question to some extent as well. Some customers say, no, it has to be on-premise. I'm an on-premise shop, I have a big IT department, I can do it better than anybody else, and I want to do it in-house. Others say, listen, I don't want to have an IT department or a big IT department. I'm not in the business of maintaining servers, I'm not in the business of even building applications. I'm in retail, I'm in pharmaceuticals, I want to buy applications and I want to deploy them and with as little IT impact as possible.
Jens, I want to thank you so much for sharing with all of us today.
Thank you very much.